Hi, this is Joe again with another review. For the sake of this video, we'll be discussing the 2016 film Bad Santa 2, starring Billy Bob Thornton, Kathy Bates, Christina Hendricks, from the show Mad Men, and Tony Clark. He's the one who was the midget, the elf, or the foul-mouthed elf. Of course, previously I had done a review of the original Bad Santa film, which came out back in 2003. Well, 16 or 13 years later, I made the sequel, which is one of the longest stretches I've ever seen of somebody doing a sequel to a movie that was fairly successful. and Bad Santa, as much as I gave not 100% positive review, but when I did, but was fairly successful when it came out. It's got a lot of, made some bucks, because naturally people want to see Billy Bob Thornton playing a drunken Santa Claus. So that movie came out fairly well, not well received, but it got its fair share of. Most reviews for the original film was kind of mixed because it was a foul-mouthed Santa Claus and became a popular movie because of that, because it debunked all the good sugary sweet Christmas style movies, or Christmas based movies. Well, Bad Santa 2 is pretty much almost the same plot as the original movie. So this time you had Kathy Bates involved, and she played Billy Bob Thornton's mother in this film. And of course, all the characters are all found out. The only characters that came back from the original movie were, of course, Billy Bob Thornton, Tony Clark, who plays the midget, was the elf, and the only other character that came back from the original Bad Santa film into this one was the one who played that strange kid that used to hang around Billy Bob Thornton, calling him Santa and stuff. Which at first people thought was retarded. I don't think it was retarded. I don't think the kid was ever mentally retarded. I just think that the kid was just stupid. There's a stupid little kid who hung out with Billy Bob Thornton. Now he's an adult, a 21-year-old adult. It's not a little kid anymore. And by the time this film came, because it's like 13 years later, so it's not some little kid anymore. But he's even more annoying in this movie than he was in the first one. This one picks up, like I said, like 13 years after the original, and Billy Bob Thornton, of course, stopped doing all the stuff, playing Santa and robbing a mall or department store and stuff. Well, now his friend who shot him in the original film, the midget, the elf, comes back, and not only did he come back, but Billy Bob Thornton's mother was played by Kathy Bates. Like I said earlier, the two of them came together, and convinced Billy Bob Thornton to do one more con to rob a charity, a famous charity in Chicago, who does stuff with little kids. So Billy Bob Thornton once again puts on the Santa Claus suit, and of course the guy who played the elf, actually he thought it was going to be another Santa Claus, but he, of course, because of his size and being a midget, he got played as an elf again. And of course, actually he was, every four-letter word in the English language this guy was using. So was Billy Bob Thornton as well. Everybody was cursing like a drunken sailor, because Billy Bob Thornton is a drunk. And of course, once again, he's talking to the kids. He's like doing almost the same similar stuff. Billy Bob Thornton was doing almost the same similar stuff as he was doing in the first movie, and was very, very reluctant to do this whole shtick again, because he knows he's going to get stabbed in the back, which of course eventually what does happen by the end of this film. Along the way, he ends up meeting and falling in love with Christina Hendricks, who was, of course, most famously in Mad Men, the beautiful redheaded woman. I mean, she was hot in this movie too, and we know didn't really watch Mad Men, but everybody was crazy about her because she was redheaded, and very few redheads in Hollywood. So they made a whole big deal over that, over her. Of course, in this movie, of course, the two of them Billy Bob Thornton and Christina Hendricks character ends up getting together and ends up, of course, doing it. But behind in a Christmas tree lot. And so, oh Santa, having sex with Billy Bob Thornton goes, oh Santa, ride me like a reindeer. So crazy, crazy lines like that. And people were hearing them having, and people were in the Christmas tree lot fighting by Christmas trees, and they hear the two of them having sex among the other trees in the parking lot, in the Christmas tree lot, which is similar to the scene in the original movie where Billy Bob was having sex with a fat woman in a dressing room or something, in a woman's dressing room in the department store. It's like the similar bit all over again. And of course, when they do rob the charity, of course the security, and they find out exactly who Billy Bob Thornton was, and his little elf friend found out who they were from the original movie, and of course they tracked him down. Then of course they put a stop to him, but meanwhile all three of them end up getting caught. And the funny thing is that once again the elf pulls a gun on Billy Bob Thornton's character. And this crap again. They didn't work really well for you for the first time because I'm still here. That type of thing. And then meanwhile, Kathy Bates was the one who shoots the elf. It doesn't die, but nobody dies in this movie. And then Kathy Bates ends up shooting her own son. Kathy Bates should be nominated for Mother of the Year for this role. And of course, even this I guess borderline retarded kid, I guess, he ends up getting shot in the butt because he tracks down Billy Bob Thornton after all these years, tracks him down, and finds him in Chicago. Actually comes to Chicago without wearing a coat in the middle of the winter time, which is a smart move there, guys. And they didn't get away with the money at all. And of course, you see the elf in like an ACU with like a broken leg or something. And Billy Bob was it looked like he was going to smother him with a pillow, and then he never does. And it was just a cluster mess throughout this whole movie. And let me tell you, at least the first one, at least it has like a crazy plot in it. And the problem with certain movie sequels is you copy the same thing from the first movie, even though you add a couple of different characters, into the mix. If it comes out the same exact plot, it's not going to work. And no wonder it took 13 years to make the sequel. I think they wanted to do a sequel almost right away for the original Bad Santa film. But I think Billy Bob didn't want to do a sequel at first. But it had taken like 13 years to make the sequel. And it should have taken another 13 years to do it. Because, Bad Santa 2 was just terrible. This movie just does not work because it's like I said a couple of times already, it's exactly the same plot as the original film. So I suggest you guys to skip over Bad Santa 2. This one is worse than the first one was. And the first one, I didn't really care for the first one. This one makes Bad Santa 2 makes the original Bad Santa film into an Oscar-winning film. That's how bad this thing was. And the only highlight for me is to see Katrina Hendricks and to see Billy Bob probably having a love interest in this film, and also to see Kathy Bates and have the mother-son thing going on when she didn't have such a great relation. The two characters didn't have such a great relationship in this film, the past history, and it goes through all that way through the whole film. Because the two of them really cursing each other out and stuff through pretty much through this whole movie. Luckily, this thing's only like an hour and a half long. So it's like an hour and a half that I'm not going to get back for watching this movie. So that's my review of Bad Santa 2. Please click on the video, please rate it. Please subscribe to my channel, please forward this video to your Facebook pages. And you check out all my reviews and on my YouTube channel at rallyc.com, that's all WDY, and that's C.com, that's the homepage to Rally Reviewer, Chris Lee Moore, and please check out all of his videos on his website. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time.